Hey, you guys. Thank you again for tuning in to Let's Talk About It with Keisha. Of course, tonight I have informed you all that we will have a very special guest. And of course, you know he's very special to me because he's my brother. And believe you guys, he is here in the flesh with us. Listen, Am, go ahead and introduce yourself to people that don't know you. I know it's a lot of people that know you, but go ahead.
Well, obviously, you guys know me as Amp. Right here out of Chippewa, Florida. This is my beautiful sister, Keisha. She invited me onto her show, so I'm happy to be a part of it.
And I'm happy to have you. Oh my God. And don't get me wrong, I know it's a lot of people that's been asking and requesting, so here he is, y'all. Here he is. What I'm going to do is start off by just questioning him for you guys. Like I said before, I know there's a bunch of stuff that y'all usually DM me and you want me to ask a bunch of different stuff. I couldn't answer all 50,000, but I'm going to ask him what I think is most important and to help y'all get to know him even better, not only as his fan, but just on a more personal note. Okay, you guys? So the first thing I want to ask you, Amp, is at what point did you say to yourself, okay, I want to strive for football. I really want to see where this thing goes.
Well, I mean, honestly, being young, being in a little bit of a difficult situation in terms of my upbringing and a lot of brothers and sisters and so forth, I've always had a desire inside that I wanted a little bit more in life. I wanted to, when you're young, your idea of success is having a nice home, having a nice car, wealth and so forth. So my idea was just I wanted to have a little bit better life. So didn't exactly know how I was going to do that, but I did know that I felt within my heart, within my spirit as a young kid that I was going to be successful and I would accomplish some of the things I wanted, and obviously my avenues through sports, and I worked hard to accomplish it.
Yeah, you really did. I'm so proud of you. But anyway, another thing I want to ask him, of course, we didn't discuss this, but at so young of an age and you just started early, people don't understand that, dang, you were 18, 19 years old and you left the small town of Chickley. It wasn't a time that you had time to breathe, as they say. It ain't like you took a break. It was straight through. How did you feel being away from a small town like this and being snatched out into a realm of people and different things?
Well, it was a little bit different initially. Obviously, going over to Tallahassee is not that far. It was away from home, but I could easily get home as well.
Okay.
So it was a little bit of adjustment. I sometimes laugh talking to my friends, and even being home now, traveling around town, I realized that my entire world probably existed within a 10-mile radius, just from small town, so forth. Obviously, moving over to Tallahassee was like a the big city, although it's not a big city, but I was ready for it. I think, I was curious about the world. I was curious about just getting out and experiencing a little bit more, and taking a chance, taking an opportunity to add an education, an opportunity to play football, and kind of see where things would go. So I was excited about it.
Okay. Could you walk us through, I know, but could you walk us through the day of draft for you? Like in your head, like what was going on that day? For us, it was excitement, but I'm talking for you.
It was nerve-wracking, to be honest with you, because, you work hard for it. I just played sports. I just grew up, played sports, listened to my mom. I had a lot of people around me supporting me. Mr. Wilson, the pastor of the church, pretty much the entire community. So when they talk about, it takes a village, it absolutely does. I had a lot of, Miss Ann Lee. I could go on and on in terms of names of people helped raising me, giving me support and advising me. But when the decision was made to go into the NFL draft, my agent had told me, hey man, you'd probably be one of the top 5 running backs chosen. And I was like, okay, well,
Did you understand that when he said that? What do you mean the top 5? What does that mean?
Well, most of the rankings in the draft boards had me as a 3rd ranked running back behind Tommy Wardell and it was a running back from Indiana. So I remember the 2 guys they had ahead of me. But you don't always know it's going to be accurate. Obviously, you know, things can change on draft day, so forth. And looking back, I was a little bit nervous. I remember the day of the draft, I was washing my car, just kind of mulling around, fiddling around.
You want to take it?
Not as right. So, you know, and I wanted to spend it with my family. I did try to, you know, I did have people offer draft parties and that stuff, but I wanted to be home with my family, just be around, you know, my family, people that I was familiar with. So, and I was at the house that I grew up in, so that was also a big deal. So I think my mom kind of sensed that that I was nervous, and she pretty much told me like, no, come on here,
Yeah.
sit down,
Enjoy
watch
it,
the
Mom.
draft.
Yeah. Get into the moment
Get
of
into
it.
it. So believe it or not, though, I watched the first round, and you know, calling out guys. I saw the first two running backs that was chosen. I think it was Tony Smith and Von Dunbar maybe, and Tommy Vardell. So I think I was the fourth running back chosen. And like I said, I had fallen asleep, but you know, the phone rang. It was my sister Stephanie.
You know, and y'all, let me not cut him off. Let me tell you, I was like, what, 10 years old? So I don't know none of this, okay? If I was a party, like normal parties, and I didn't know what was going on, okay? But go ahead, you say Steph had called you.
Well, the phone rang, and you know, Steph gave me the phone, and she said, hey, you know, it's George Seifert from the Coach Seifert from the 49ers. And you know, he told me that, hey, you know, we're gonna have you. And obviously it's kind of an unreal moment, because it's a moment in which you feel like you've reached your goal in terms of that moment being drafted and so forth. And being honest with you, as a small town boy from Chipley, I really didn't even know the avenue to NFL. It was something that was I thought was out of touch, out of reach. It's just something I saw on television. Exactly. But you know, so for that moment, I obviously remember it like yesterday, and was excited about it. So you know, but he told me they drafted me, and everybody celebrated and cried and cheered, and it was a great moment. It was a great moment for me. It was a great moment to have with my family, and it's obviously something I cherish a lot.
Yeah, those memories, of course. But for me, I'm listening to you talk, and I'm gonna be honest, I would have been scared. Like, oh crap, I really did it. Like now I gotta go. You know what I mean? I would have been scared, because at this point, you know, like I gotta fly from Chipley and go to California. And how old were you? You was like really good.
I was 20.
20 years old.
My rookie year, I was the youngest guy in the NFL. 20 years old, and yeah, but at the same time, I knew that I wanted more. I knew that I felt that life was going to offer me more in terms of opportunities, so forth. And sometimes you got to get out and experience the world. I will tell you, it's a big world. I mean, I've coached in Europe, Amsterdam, a lot of different places, and it's a big world. There's a lot of opportunities out there, and sometimes you just have to get out and take the chance. So, so I was, had heard a lot of things about San Francisco, and but you gotta go. You have to go to work, and I was ready for it. I will tell you this though. My first day in Frisco, I got pulled over by a cop, and was because I was in the carpool lane.
Oh wow!
Because I didn't know what the carpool
right?
lane was, so I just thought it was a lane to speed ahead and get by everybody. So he pulled me over and kind of explained it. He was like, hey, you do realize you're in the carpool lane? And I said, what? And he said, give me a license. So I think my question just asking that made him realize this dude is he doesn't know what's up. But anyway, so that was my first kind of California experience with the big city, but I adjusted and got used to the traffic and that whole thing. But part of life experiences.
Do you kind of feel like, and it took me until I got older to even understand the level that you are, because you're just my brother. To me, I'm not seeing what everybody else sees. I've been going to the football games, the basketball games, so even though we're in a bigger arena, I don't understand what y'all talking about, But for you to leave off, this is a lot of us, it's 13 of us.
Right.
For you to leave off, and I've explained this to people before, like you didn't really grow up with us, because you was away, and then you got settled into your own family and own things. So really, when we out here playing hopscotch and you know, doing this and having barbecues and doing this and doing that and having family reunions. You are out there away on your own journey. How do you feel about those things? You feel kind of like, I know I did this, you know, you created that life for yourself and, you know, to better the family and stuff. Did you ever feel like, dang, I missed out on this person growing up or my nieces and nephews growing up or whatever have you?
Well, absolutely. I mean, you know, but at the same time, you know, Chipley doesn't have a professional team, you know, so.
But we know that.
So you have to,
Just do
have to go
it.
to work. Yeah, and you know, every man at some point has to grow up and, you know, try to establish his life and you know, I was trying to establish my career and obviously I decided to have a family and move forward that way. So I always miss my family, thought about everyone and you do miss some of those experiences. Obviously I miss, you know, my mom, just being around her and how important she was. So yeah, so you miss those moments, but at the same time you obviously have to work and you know, I would always try to come back and spend time and send things and help and try to make, you know, our family comfortable as much as I could.
Yeah.
So yeah, you definitely miss those moments and those opportunities, but you know, it's life and you grow up.
Yeah. Okay, you know, we have a very boisterous mom and very opinionated. She's gonna tell you exactly how she feels when she feels at that moment. Okay. Is this something that kind of stuck with you? Because of course, she states everything. She raises, you know, to the best of her ability, but she's hard on one and she is the next. Is it something that you feel like, dang, you know, this has always carried me through, even though she said this 20 years ago?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I tell people all the time first of all, when I tell people about my mom, I tell them, look, my mom is like, she's from the old South, like the old South, meaning like she believes in cracking the whip.
Right.
And she did. So I listened. I didn't like it, so I listened.
Right.
Did I listen to everything she told me? No, but the boy switches and belts and shoes and all kinds of stuff. I paid attention. And absolutely. So so I did listen to most things she said to me and try to follow her advice. And again, as I said, I had a lot of people around me just supporting me. And but I even now, I tell all the time, like even now as a 49-year-old man, I still can hear my mom's voice when I'm away because I still think about doing things that would my mom be pleased with this, would she be proud of this?
Right.
So no, and I think that's one of the best things you can give your kid is to hear her voice, her voice, even when you're away. So you know, her presence has always been with me everywhere I've gone. Believe it or not, I still run a lot of things by her, even if I can't talk to her. You know, it's kind of a mom check. So
You have to check in. We all do.
No doubt. So yeah, she's got a great voice, and there's obviously as you age, you also more things start to connect and make sense as to why she said that, why she did that. Sometimes as a young kid thing or as a teenage things don't make sense, but I tell people all the time, my mom knew something.
She knew something. She knew it, didn't she? We actually talked about that the other day. I said, wait, now every time she would say something, it happened just like how she said it was going to happen. I don't know how they want to do, but she knew something.
What she always tells us, I was born that night, but not last night. That's real, she said that.
Yeah, of course. Of course. Was it any times I know not in your college career, because college is just college, but in your professional years that you just felt like, man, I really want to give up. I want to throw in the towel, because now it's getting to a point, and we don't know, of course, but you know those moments like, dang, I wish I could throw in the towel, but I done come too far or something.
Well, it's tough. You know, I think, growing up here, you know, you're in your circle of friends, small community, the Panhandle, you know, you get to know guys from Condell, Mariana, all the little surrounding towns, and you kind of compete against those guys all the time.
Right.
Elementary, middle school, high school, so you get familiar with them, but you travel, you end up in the NFL. The truth is, like, you're playing against the best players in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and I admit, there's times when, like, after my first year, you come home and guys are like, man, I thought you would have like 2,000 yards and 25 touchdowns. I'm thinking to myself, like, man, this is the NFL. These are
college stuff. It's
these
real
are
stuff
the
like
best players in the world, and then you throw in the business part aspect of it. I share a story. When you start to question yourself and just have some reservations about, the league and the process, so forth. After my second year with Frisco, I had flown out for a Mother's Day mini camp. I was actually at the hotel Friday morning getting ready to go over to the facility for practice. And so ESPN came on and said, you know, when we returned, the 49ers released a running back. So I kind of thought to myself, like, okay, I wonder what they're talking about.
Oh, wow, that's how you found out.
That's how I found out. I found out sitting at the end of the bed looking at the television, it was me.
Oh my
And
God.
yeah, and so that's kind of like, I mean, that was a little bit it's a little bit of a shock to you, because the truth is, it's kind of like that's the first time in my life in which I felt like, okay, what does that really mean? And okay, does that mean these people don't think I'm good enough, or
Right.
they think they can win without me, or you know? So it just raised a lot of questions from that standpoint. But as it played out, and it really just had more to do with the business standpoint, salary cap issues, so forth.
Right.
In which I went on to sign with Minnesota, and it was actually a good move, and it created an opportunity for me. But that was probably the only time in my career in which, you know, because it was the first time,
Right.
you know, and I mean that had happened. And but when you're playing with the best players in the world, like it's a high demand, and you know, just being honest with you,
It's a
sometimes
business. People don't understand that, but really, it's just business. It's nothing personal. It's just business.
and
It's always going to be
it's the
something.
best players. It's tough.
Yeah. Like you just stated, you played with a bunch of people. You know, us. I was excited about some of them. Like, of course, Ricky Waters. You had Chris Carter. You had Jerry Rice. You had Warren Moon, Tony Banks. Like, you was gonna hold me for left. You know. So I was just wondering, like, even with those people, like, do y'all still reach out to each other, or how did it feel? Like you said, you know these people, but you know, even like Deion Sanders and stuff, you knew him before you went into the league. So to be on the same field with him and to engage with him or whatever, how was that?
It's absolutely. I mean, you can be a little bit starstruck. You know, I don't know how this happened, but my rookie year with Frisco, my locker was in between Joe Montana and Steve Young. I don't know how I got that locker, but I did.
Yeah, that would flip the person out, but for you, it's like, I gotta act normal.
Yeah, you know, you walk in the locker room and you know it's kind of like, okay, you could cut your eyes and look, man, that's Jerry Rice over there. Yeah, that's Joe, that's Steve, and you look at John Taylor. I mean, these guys are coming off Super Bowls, great organization. You know, so you can find yourself a little bit looking around, but at some point you kind of go, all right, you know, they're suiting up just like me. You know, I'm here.
Okay, so in that moment, you know, the rookie, you just watch my. At what point did you say, man, I'm one of these guys? Did you ever feel like that? Like, dang, I really, like, how many years did it take for you to say, dang, I really made it? I'm just like these people. I'll forever be remembered.
Well, every level you go off, high school, I mean, from JV to varsity to college to professional, there's always a little bit of a space there to make you go, okay, you know, can I be successful at this level? Because you're dealing with it. I'll put it this way, and for me in high school, I mean, not being arrogant or anything, but I was probably one of the best running backs, like in the Panhandle, if not the state. You go to college and you're probably one of the best. I was probably one of the best 5 to 7 players on the field. And then all of a sudden you get into the NFL and you're just one of 11.
Yeah.
You're just one of the dudes, because every guy out there is probably Deion was the best cornerback in his position. Peyton Manning was the best quarterback. Ray Lewis was the best linebacker. So you're playing against the best guys at that position, so they know how to. The same level of confidence I had in terms of my ability to play running back, they had, yes.
Yeah.
And then you have to compete, and that's why it's the highest league in the world, because it's the best players. So absolutely.
Was it ever a time that you got injured and then you just had to act like you would, you know, or was it tell us? Because I don't remember you ever really getting injured.
Well, my 7th year in you know, during the course of football season, you're gonna have some dings and nicks and so forth, but that's normal for everybody. I never really had a major injury my 7th year in the league with the Rams. I had a micro tear in my patella, so I did have an injury that set me out for a little bit. And I kind of battled that. To be honest with you, I battled injuries my last 2 or 3 years, and I didn't handle it well, to be honest with you, because I had never been injured. It kind of put me on and off the field, which affected my play. And a lot of times with athletes, they get injuries, they just don't feel like themselves. You know, you can't do things that you can naturally do. So it's a little bit of a, no athlete wants to be hurt. Don't ever take that an athlete wants to be hurt because he relies on his body to do what he does. It makes him feel like who he is. So, the Super Bowl year with the Rams, I was in and out of the lineup due to injuries. I battled back, trying to get back on a roster for 2 more years. And after battling injuries for about 2 years, I honestly just said like, okay, it's time for me to move on. And I decided to retire and move on to something else.
Yeah. Well, of course, if you guys know him, he's had a wonderful experience with the NFL League. We have enjoyed even having you. Of course, a part of my family, you know, they get credit for everything, you hear me? But to be honest with you guys, he is awesome just as a man, y'all. I promise y'all, even with me and pretty much the whole family, everything that it'd be something small. I could be did one little plat, y'all, and he act like I'm just the next best thing out of the brave. Do you hear me? I have always admired that about you. That no matter what we have, you have always encouraged us, uplifted us, pushed us to move forward. And that's what makes you, don't get me wrong, half of my brothers like that. They act like I'm just stuff. I think it's because I'm a baby, but I don't know. You know, I don't know. I'm just going to push that out there. But no, seriously, I appreciate you even through my younger years until now, my adult years. If I need you, I've always been able to call him. He's going to give me words of wisdom, y'all. Okay? And if you call his phone and you think you just have a 5-minute conversation, listen to me. No, you're not. He got a long list for you.
5 minutes.
Don't call him about no 5-minute talking. You got a long list. Okay, if stuff he's gonna talk to you about, but I've always enjoyed that. I've always appreciated that, and like I said again, admired you. And I'm gonna speak for my whole entire family to the world to let y'all know that this man is awesome without NFL. He has truly been a blessing. Okay, he's a great and awesome father, of course. Did you want to speak about your fatherhood and what's the difference in the imp we know versus the father?
Well, I'm done playing. That's one thing. You just try to take the lessons from childhood, life experience, so forth. Things that molded me and are important to me. You try to share those things and also improve those things with your kids.
Right.
I want my boys to be better than me. They should be. I expect them to be. And I just want them to grow up and be quality men, quality human beings,
Right.
Men of faith, respectful and kind, and so forth. So.
And they are.
They're
You know
good,
they are.
yeah.
They're awesome.
They better be.
They,
They better be.
you got a little lip on your back.
Yeah, they better be. So
Okay.
I probably talk a little bit with them a little bit more than
Yeah.
my mom went about it. So
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think all the switches and stuff was necessary,
We're
but
trying to talk it out, don't we?
yes, we do.
I do that a lot with my kids.
so but I love it. It's I have 2 beautiful boys, my wife, beautiful family. So
Very good.
yeah, and it's just transitioning.
Mm-hmm.
I love to support them, encourage them. Along their journey, obviously, Saban's playing in the NBA, which is an unbelievable blessing.
Right. How
Most
did you
people-
feel about that? Because you had experienced it twice, the draft day. How was that for you with him?
People, me. I love basketball. In fact, basketball is probably my first love and first passion.
Yeah.
So to have that experience with him and to help him through his life accomplish that, and having completed his first year, it's just a phenomenal blessing.
Yeah.
My little boy Aubrey, he's just starting out trying to find his way. He's probably gonna be an engineer. We'll see.
We'll see.
But I'm blessed. I'm blessed beyond. It's just unbelievable. So
Yeah. Truly a blessing. And I was speaking to my viewers a couple weeks ago, well maybe even just last week, about if you think it will happen. It's not gonna happen in your timing. And like the power of the heart, God judges you from your heart and He gives you, the desires of the heart. And then you had spoke upon things now that you had asked for even before the NFL, you didn't get it, but now in your years after retiring and stuff, now it's manifesting and it's coming to run.
as getting older, some of the things that I desires in my heart, things that I wanted when I was younger. I look back and to be honest with you, I feel like my life was all parts of my life was already ordained.
Right.
And it was really just a matter of me staying the course.
Right.
Because most things that I dreamed of, most things that that was within my soul, within my spirit, like those things happen.
Mhm.
And I just, like I said, I just, stayed on course. I wasn't perfect, but I stayed close to home, stayed close to my faith. Had a lot of supportive people around me, and knowing I just tried to do the right thing.
Mhm.
And it set me on a good path. It's the same thing I try to instill with my kids.
Right.
I mean, I as a young boy, I always wanted, Nikes and Air Trails and long, but I can't afford those shoes. And I was disappointed, but never ungrateful, because I knew she was doing the best she could.
Right.
And I look at life, and obviously I've had multiple Nike contracts, and I've got tons of shoes now. So God knew that.
Yeah, like I'm gonna give you a
Yes.
budget of these things, but
Yes.
you're gonna get tired of them by the time I'm through with
So
you.
a lot of shoes fall. And, so again, I mean, just trust your faith, trust, stay close to your journey, trust your journey, do the right thing, surround yourself with supportive people, and see where it goes. I think that's been, I've seen so many things manifested in my life. I mean, first thing about it, I'll be honest with you, I wanted to be an NBA player. I got son who's an NBA player.
And I think I shared that with a couple friends. Like his first love of sports, y'all don't know that. If you don't know that, was basketball. He wanted to be an NBA player, but God, like you said, blessed you, and you still in that realm. Even though He gave it to your son, you still in the realm of it. So look at God. He's awesome. He's amazing.
Absolutely.
What would you say to? And like I said, I know you pushed hard for your stuff like that. What would you say to that kid that's just starting out? He's just getting to college, but he wants to get to that. What would you say to that young man?
I would just say, work hard, trust yourself, and to know what you're having a plan, but not understanding how to. I mean, wanting something but not understanding how to get it doesn't really work.
Right.
Because most of the time we know the right and wrong thing to do.
Right.
And honestly, you need to choose right way more often than wrong. It gets to be pretty simple in that regard. And sometimes I think with small town kids, because there's no exposure.
Right.
There's just simply no exposure in that, like I said, even for me, the NFL was something I watched on television. The NBA was something I watched on television. I didn't even know how to get there. So I like to know that your dreams are free. Like God, follow your dreams, chase your dreams with passion, with hard work, with humility. And you may not get everything that you want, but you'll get a lot of what you want. And be thankful for it. Yes, and be thankful for it. Yes.
Okay. The next question I want to ask, and I'm not gonna keep you. I know I keep you all night because I like to talk, honey. They know I like to talk, and but this, well, you know it too. But seriously, y'all, I will ask them 1,010 questions for y'all because it's a difference when you're in the house and you know this person versus a person that you don't know. So I'll ask them 1,000,000 questions for y'all, but I cannot do that tonight. So I guess I wanted you to fill your fans in, fill the people in that haven't been knowing what you actually been doing for the last couple of years since retirement and everything. Could you give them a layout of that?
Yeah, after retiring from NFL, I pursued coaching football a couple of years. As I said earlier, coached over in NFL Europe, a couple of internships with some NFL teams. But to be honest with you, coaching wasn't really my passion. It really wasn't my passion. My passion is working with kids.
Right.
And teaching the game of basketball. I probably trained, 60 to 80 kids. The game of basketball, obviously I spent a lot of time with Saban and his process, my little boy, Aubrey. But my passion is working with kids. I love working with kids. I love teaching the game of basketball. That gives me joy.
Right.
It's something I enjoy doing. So that, honestly, for the last probably 10, 15 years, that's really all that I've been doing is training kids basketball and mentoring kids through college and high school. But that's my passion. That's what I love to do.
Yeah. Well, y'all, guess what? I told y'all I won't keep y'all long on no Thursday. I truly do appreciate my brother stepping in on my show, you guys. And like I said, I know a bunch of you guys want to hear from him, so here he is for y'all. Hopefully he'll bless us again with his presence. I have truly enjoyed him. I hope y'all have too. Again, thank you again for tuning in to Let's Talk About It with Keisha. Y'all, I will give y'all a break this Saturday because it's Memorial Day. I'm going to let y'all have y'all free time. But catch me next Saturday, okay, right here, and Let's Talk About It with Keisha. I love you guys. Enjoy your day. And I'll holla.